All right, so tonight we're going to go over the wonderful world of collecting antique mohair toys. And I am not an expert on this. So if you're looking for experts, I don't know, go find somebody else and hit the back button. But we'll just go over a brief synopsis of the history of these beautiful mohair animals, mostly made in Europe, not America. Although there were some quite wonderful American manufacturers making mohair animals. And we're going to go over the different kinds you'll find, the different values, what they generally sell for. And all right, let's begin. All right, so there's some dispute. By the way, you always want to like the most collected out of the mohair animals would be teddy bears. And there's some dispute about who or which company or country made the first teddy bear. And so what they claim, historians, proclaim, is that the Ideal Novelty and Toy Company in Brooklyn, New York, was the maker of the first teddy bear. Ideal. Here's an ideal. We'll go over the ideal bears in this collection here. Somewhere is around 1902, 1903. And then the company formed in 1907. First, it was an actual candy shop or a candy store in Brooklyn, New York. And the owner's wife decided to sew felt like little teddy bears, placed them in the window, and people actually like snatched them up. And she realized she was selling more teddy bears than candy. And so that's really interesting. Now, I don't have a teddy bear, one of their earlier teddy bears, but I do have very old teddy bears made by the Ideal Company. And let's try to find that. Here we go. Here's one right here. This one, again, I'm no expert, and he did not come with this little navy hat. Let's take a look at him. He did not come with this little navy hat, but I placed it on him because he came with this adorable like anchor American flag type of medal hanging from his neck. And he was made by Ideal. If you look close, you can see some of the Ideal features. We have shoe button eyes. We have these little, I call them like chicken legs. And you can see like the way the legs are actually shaped. It's like a chicken leg, like a fat chicken leg on the top, or a drumstick. That's what I was looking for. And you can see the feet are generally shaped like that. Now, this one does not have claws, which probably is pointing to he's early. And he could have been made probably, I'm going to guess, about 1910 or so. And I guess they changed in design over the years. You could see, let's go to the profile. If you look, earlier bears had like humps on their backs. He's almost peanutty shaped. And look at him. He's just folded. He's so old, he just can't even stand up anymore. All right, let's check out our other Ideal bear. And yeah, he is, look at him. He is just had it. And also another telltale design of the Ideal Teddy Bear Company is these pointed toes. So if you look right towards the tip of the toe, it's very pointed. All right, I could be wrong. This might not be an Ideal teddy. You can correct me in the comments below if you'd like. We're going to just place him like this for a moment. And there we go. He's resting. He's resting in peace, actually. And here's his friend over here. Now, I had him, actually, let's go to a place where there's no mess. I had him actually evaluated and appraised. And he was appraised as a 1920s Ideal teddy bear. And generally, around this time, they used fabric stitched like almost like a patch on the nose. And he is really quite beautiful with his little glass eyes. Let's get a close-up of that. And look at that. Look at the stitches on the nose. We have the pointy tip toes, as you can see here. Pointed right at the tip. And fully jointed, head, arms, and legs. And he was actually appraised at about $1,000 to $1,500. Not bad, not bad at all for a $25 eBay purchase. I placed a little ribbon and little jingle bell on him. Sometimes they squeak. They'll have like a mechanism in them. This one has the mechanism in his back. And as you can see, as they go on in years, let me just move his arm down a little. The hump starts to slowly disappear. And the earlier bears had a big hump over here. There we go. Here he is. And let's go on to the next. Now, this is what one of the first Ideal teddy bears would have looked like. Let's take a look at that. Very interesting. All right, so the earlier bears would have had long and very long. As you can see, it comes like past his upper leg. Long spoon-shaped arms. And what does that sound? It's my dog making Walter the farting dog sounds. Okay, ignore that. And then there was other American companies as well back then. Again, 1907 and on, we have the Bruin Manufacturing Company. It's an early American teddy bear company. You might be lucky enough to find one of these, but don't expect to pay less than at least $1,000 or maybe even $2,000 for one of these bears. It would have had a label across the paw pad, one of the paw pads. Most of them go missing. Here's some other manufacturers, Gund, which we still know today. And they started in 1898, which is insane. This is not an 1898 bear. It's more of a 1950s bear. But then we also have the Etna Toy and Animal Company, 1906 to 1919. Short-lived company. If you find one of these bears and you find it for under $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, you're lucky. And the likelihood of that happening is not very much. Now we have the Knickerbocker Toy Company. This one was made in the 1950s. They started moving to bears around the 1920s. You will find a lot of Knickerbocker bears. They're underrated and undervalued right now. So if you want, I'd say pick up some Knickerbocker bears. I'll show you one. Hold on. And over here we have some early Knickerbocker bears from the 30s. These two right here, these little brown Bruins. And they are quite sweet. And we got a Steiff rabbit next to him and a Steiff rabbit over here. And so there you go. Grab these Knickerbocker bears while they're undervalued. As you can see, I have way too many stuffed animals. And here's our Gund, an early Gund. And of course, we're going to get some shadow action. Early Gund right here, this brown one. And we have some more Knickerbocker bears thrown in here, along with some other German guys. Look, this guy's on his back. There's our brown Gund over there. This one, this dog, the Spaniel, was made by the Knickerbocker Company in the 30s or 40s. He's quite grand. Look at him. Did I say grand? Well, yeah, I said grand. And we have some more bears buried under dust and mess. And yeah, here's another Knickerbocker. Now, this white bear actually was made somewhere in the 40s. And he's a cuddly one. He's not jointed. He's actually a crib bear. And a crib bear was actually a bear that a baby would have slept with in their crib. Very cool, very awesome. He has his original bow, by the way. So for some reason or another, the most actually coveted and collected are Steiff bears. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a Steiff, but Steiff's made amazing, wonderful mohair animals. The company started somewhere in the 1890s with Marguerite Steiff, who was actually handicapped, only had the use of one hand, was really, really horribly handicapped, sewing felt elephants at first. Then she started making bears and other animals. Now there's dispute over who made the first teddy bear. Was it Steiff in Germany or Ideal in America? I guess we'll never know. Here's a Steiff bear. Now I do not have any early Steiff bears because early Steiff bears sell for thousands upon thousands of dollars. And so this is a 1950s Steiff teddy bear. This is their teddy original. And you can see it's really, really made very, very well. They made beautiful, beautiful animals. And this is one such example made in the 1950s. These bears came in 4 different colors in the 1950s: caramel, white, blonde, and like chocolate brown. This one being, I believe, the caramel. I'm not sure if it's a blonde or a caramel. And they would have a squeaker right in the tummy. And I'm squeaking it and nothing's happening. And that is pretty much what happens after some time with these bears. So I'm going to place him down. We're going to go over some other bears. Now, again, it's very hard to identify some of the makers of these animals. A lot of times they would come with tags or buttons. They go missing over the years. This one was made by Edward Kramer. And this is Wee Angus. And Wee Angus was made in about 1930. And they made this particular doggy for F.A.O. Schwartz, which was a famous American toy store in New York City. Now, unfortunately, recently, they just went out of business or filed bankruptcy. Now, his head swivels. I can't get him to do that right now. But the really cool part about this guy is, and by the way, look at his endearing little face. I mean, how sweet is that? He has a music box on the bottom that is not working, unfortunately. Once in a while, I'll hear it play on its own, and then it'll stop. But yeah, this is Wee Angus, made by Edward Kramer. Now, I'm going to show you another Edward Kramer product. Hold on. This is one of their early bears, and he is really quite sweet and really worn. And he has his original bell collar. Look at that, all rusted and old, fully jointed, and he has a tilt growler. Let's try to get it to work. You can hear something inside of him, right? It's a cylinder. You hear that? Once in a while, he will bellow for me. But, oh wait. Okay, so he is trying to make a sound. It's not happening. And I'm going to show you really fast a few of Edward Kramer's animals that are highly collectible. And this guy has seen better days, as you can see. He's pretty much falling apart. But that happens with old age. So there are a lot of different Edward Kramer animals that you can find, and they're very expensive if you're going to collect them. For example, let's check out this one. This one is really cool. It has like a tongue almost, or a smiley mouth sticking out, and he was made in the 1920s. They made bears, I believe, earlier than the 1920s, but then again, you're not generally going to find them. It's very, very rare to find them. Here's another guy right here. Very, very cute. And he has that smiley red stitching on his face to give him almost like a smiley look. And here's another Edward Kramer. Very, very cool. And yet another one. And there's quite a bit. And they made different animals as well. Not just bears. Now, during the 20s and the 30s, and sometime a little earlier than that, they would make clown teddy bears or jester teddy bears. This one was probably made in the 20s, has its original jingle bells on it, really quite cool, with a jester's hat, and he has a little jester's collar with jingle bells on him. Don't know who made him. I believe he is German. He may have been made by, I'm trying to guess, but he may have been made by a German company by the name of, I forgot the name, it'll come back to me, but as you can see, even the 1930 ones now are gaining in value, which is insane. I could never afford $1,295 for a 1930s teddy bear, but maybe you can. All right, so we have our jester buddy over here. We have our other German bear here. We have our Steiff. And by the way, these Steiff 1950s bears are starting to gain in value, and I'll show you why. And as you can see here, here's a Teddy original from the 1950s, and they're starting to really gain in value, $466.82. Now you might say, well, it didn't sell for that, but this particular seller on Etsy always gets the price for their bears, and I see these generally selling in the $400 to $500 price range, even without the tags and buttons, which is insane. Since it's getting harder and harder to find the early century, like 20th century ones made by Steiff, and like I'm talking about 1900, 1905, 1915, 1920s. The 1950 bears are now starting to gain in value because they're more affordable, but yet highly collectible. Now, out of all my bears, this one is probably my earliest. He is very, very old. Look at the profile. We have these long spoon-shaped arms. Don't know if you can see that here. And he is very, very old. I had to replace his paw pads because the straw stuffing was coming through it. He has this gorgeous like bell collar. Look at his face, shoe button eyes. Very, very early, stitched on ears, almost like a round. Now, I think he could have been made by two different companies. If I'm guessing wrong, I'm guessing wrong. I don't think Steiff is one of them, unfortunately. But I think he could have been made by Etna, or he could have been made by, there's another company, and I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, that was German. All right, so I think he's a Strunz, and Strunzes had like these weird, like almost smile-like looks on their lips. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think it's a Strunz. And Strunz even made teddy bear muffs. They were sued by Steiff, by the way. And this one, wow, estimated at that price. And look at it, the red bear, really in bad shape. Strunz was sued by Steiff because they used a button in the ear just like Steiff did. And then Steiff was like, hey, you're copying our product. And then they sued them, and then they sort of won. And then Strunz could no longer use the button in the ear. Some of the early Strunz bears also had these gutta percha noses made out of some kind of like vulcanized rubber. And they sell for big money. Now, this one only got $400, but I've seen them go on eBay for thousands of dollars if they're in better condition. Really interesting. Okay, so teddy bears weren't the only things that were actually made and actually highly collected. Cats are another one. I never have a problem selling cats. Whenever I had, when I had my Etsy shop, whenever I would put a cat up for sale that was mohair from the 1920s, 1930s, it would sell out within like one day. And it didn't matter how much price I put on it, like my price tag. If it was even a little too high, it would still sell two, three, $400 every time I put a mohair cat on, and it didn't even have to be Steiff. This one, don't know who made it. It's a mystery maker. Could have been maybe German or English. This one is fully unjointed, probably made in the 20s or 30s. You can generally tell from this like triangle design on the bottom. You can see like the back legs are almost like in a triangle design. That's how you can tell an early cat or dog. Here's another example. Hold on, let's get it out. And this one is probably German. It was probably made by a company by the name of Jopi. Joseph Pitcherman or something like that. JOPI was the acronym for the brand. And again, we have that triangle shape on the bottom. Again, I am no expert on this, but this is a very early probably the teens to about the 20s for a little spaniel type dog. Really very, very cute. We have another one over here that's also from the same time frame. And again, we have that almost like that triangular shaped boomerang looking back leg area. Again, this is an early dog, probably again Joseph Pitterman. Perhaps I'm wrong, it could be German by another maker, but definitely not Steiff. Steiff was more into quality than quantity. This one was quickly sewn. You can see all the seams on it, unjointed, made to sell quickly. This is a really, really, really cool dog. Now, he's seen better days, but look at his little tongue hanging out and his big bulgy eyes. Let's try to take a look at him. Now, he has tipped mohair, and generally tipped mohair, it's mohair that has many different colors going through it, was generally popular between the 20s and 30s. So you can basically age this one out. Again, that triangular hind leg shape on the bottom. Now, what's really cool about this guy is he just doesn't just sit there with his tongue out. And let's go ahead and check out this cool mechanism. Now watch this. He plays music. And who made him? Well, let's find out. Now, it's unknown to me who really made it, but I think it was made by a company by the name of Jopi. Again, Jopi, or Helvetic. 1920s Helvetic, mohair musical box, musical dog. This one has seen better days. Let's check this one out. Oh, dang, it sold. Yeah, of course it sold. They don't stick around for long. I actually think I was incorrect. I think it was Moritz, gonna get this wrong, Moritz Pop. And they made bears as well. And again, you see the same type of big giant eyes. This one, 1920. Wow. Okay, and they made musical dogs. So let's go ahead and find, here we go. Musical Bellows dog, $799 Australian, I guess. Yep, Moritz Pop, 1920s. Can you imagine this thing is still making music from the 1920s? Let's check out some more if we can find them. And a lot of them that you will find will be in really bad condition, like this one. Not as good as mine. And I'm not trying to, brag or anything. But here's some Moritz Pap bears. And again, musical bellow dogs. And yet here's another musical bellows dog. And they made such funny looking characters, Moritz Pop or Pap. Yeah, I probably got that wrong. I always get it wrong. Can never pronounce. Again, Moritz Pap bears right here. And yet there's more. Now, these sell for a lot of money. If you're going to find one, you're going to be paying big bucks for them. The cheapest, like for one that's really threadbare and falling apart with the music box not working, minimum of $300. If you're going to get one that is in really good shape, let's check out what are you going to pay for it. Yeah. Now, the most valuable Moritz Paps are the bears, the musical bears. If you find a musical bear, you're in the money. The dog's not as much, but this one, in the condition that it's in, you can see it's not losing, it hasn't lost its mohair. is going to sell. Look how like lush that is. This thing was like probably never played with. Is going to sell for big bucks. I'd say that this is worth about $800 to $1,200 in the condition that it's in. Really quite beautiful and lovely. Look at that face. Here we have, I think, a Steiff tabby cat. Don't know when this one was made, but usually the 1930s, 1921s would have red stitching for claws. Don't know, not an expert. This one is an unjointed head one. And mostly Steiff animals came with jointed body parts. Sometimes, once in a while, Steiff would make a cat or a dog that had an unjointed head, usually the smaller versions of their animals. They came in different sizes. This one, most likely a Steiff. I could be incorrect. Did not come with a button. I added the collar and the bell. But this is typically Steiff with the red claws. Don't know. You can write in the comments below and tell me if you think this is a Steiff kitty cat. All right, so this bear is really, really quite cool. A mystery bear. Don't know who made him. And I think he was made by one of two companies. I could be wrong. You could tell me in the comments below. His nose reminds me a lot of a Moritz Pap nose or a Jopi nose, Jopi, or perhaps a Pintel French bear. And if you hear that, that is actually my dogs playing with their squeaker right now because I got my bears out and they think it's playtime. Okay, so this guy was actually, believe it or not, once pink. You look at his paw pads, you see the pink color? You see that? This bear actually was dyed pink and he turned white. He lost his pink coloring and that happens. He was probably made... Oh my God, guys, hold on here. Grover. He looks like one of these animals, doesn't he? All right, so this one was probably made in the 20s or 30s by one of those companies that I mentioned. He does have like a bellows inside, but it's worn and I can't get it to work. I think he had a music box inside of him. He was actually sold to me by a museum. And let's check out comparables. Okay, so here is a Jopi. And yeah, actually very similar, except for the nose. No, the nose is not the same. And that was a pink bear being sold for, wow, $2,200. That's insane. Well, here's some other Jopis. And as you can see, they had a different nose than this guy. And if you hear noise in the background, that's my adult children making a lot of noise. So maybe it's not a Jopi. Maybe it's a Pintel. Now here are Pintel bears, and these are French. And, no, not the same nose, but the eyes look very similar. And it says a rare Pintel teddy bear. Well, what the hell did that sell for? Let's try to find out if we can. What? Great Britain pounds, $2,271 for a teddy bear. Wow. Okay, I think it's a Pintel because it has that same type of nose, and I found a pink one, and it says Pintel Mohair Pink Bear. Aha! And now we know we're in the money. Now, Pintel and other French makers made all sorts of different types of teddy bears. Here's another one of their examples. And I just can't get over the fact that one of those bears, let's see, here's another one from Christie's. And this one is a rare Pintel teddy bear. And is that the same one we saw before? Yes, it is. I clicked on it, of course. It was a different picture. And they bring me back to that one. But still, this one has the original. Will you stop it over there? What are you doing? Hey, you. All right, it's playtime. But again, 2000 and... Sorry, I can't do this. $2,271. Actually, Great Britain pounds. Even more in dollars. For a freaking teddy bear. So as you can see, teddy bear collecting is not as cheap. You can find some bargains on eBay. If somebody just like lists a teddy bear or an old mohair animal and really does not know much about it, you could probably like score one for 20, 30 bucks and it ending up being worth at least $500 to $3,000. It does happen, but there are a lot of collectors out there that will stop you or stop that from happening because the minute they find a mohair older animal, not a newer, more contemporary one, they're going to snatch it up and they're going to go into a bid war with you over it. Okay, so if you're looking for an older animal, the earliest teddy bears had very, very, very long spoon-shaped arms that went past their legs. They would have big humps on their back. Always look for those ones, especially Steiff. Most of them will not have their original buttons in them. If you're going to go for animals, go for older 1920s, 1930s dogs and cats. The dogs and cats are actually always collected and sought after. Also, 1950s Steiff bears are actually coming into their own now. The prices are starting to really go up on them. As you can see, this guy here, they came in different sizes and 4 different colors. The older, the better. This one is probably from the teens to the 20s. Also, this guy over here. This one being my oldest fella over here. He is like actually falling apart as we speak. Always go for the earliest ones. And also look for unique ones that have bellows inside of them that make music. The musical ones are worth even more because they're more actually enjoyable because, well, this one's music box, Wee Angus over here, made by Edward Kramer, actually does not work anymore. What a bummer. What could you do? Nothing you can do about that. But this guy, ooh, look at that. They're all falling down over here. But again, cats, dogs, Steiff bears, earlier the better. You can find 1920s unjointed ones as well, and 1930s unjointed ones. Also, Knickerbocker American teddy bears, we saw the chocolate ones that I had in the other room before, are undervalued right now. Snatch those up. In about another 10 years or so, the values are going to go way up. Those 30s ones are going to be hard to find. Always look for American makers that are iconic, like Ideal. This one being a 1920s Ideal bear. This one being an earlier one right here, Ideal. Steiff, again, German. Yeah, I'm no expert, so you might have a few things to say in the comments below. But as you can tell, this type of collection can get quite costly. If you're going to find any of these old little characters, you're going to actually be expected to pay a lot more than most of us can afford. But if you can look in flea markets, thrift shops, tag sales, garage sales, on eBay. Once in a while, you might get lucky and might find these guys for under $50 a piece. But it's not easy because there's a lot of want for these things. There's a lot of demand. Whenever there is a demand for something, people are going to go into bid wars with you for it, fight you over it, duke it out with you, and you may not get it for under a certain amount of money. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But there we go. I hope you learned something. Maybe you didn't. Maybe I don't know anything I'm talking about, and maybe I just like misled all of you. But as you can tell, I showed you comparables, prices of some of these items and what they sell for, and they're highly collected. Thanks for watching. See you guys all soon. And Wee Angus says bye. Right, Wee Angus? All right, he's silent. I don't know. I have to fix this music box.